Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. We are so excited that you are here. Hey, while people are jumping on, we would love to know where you are joining us from. So if you will, you've got the questions box on the right side of your screen as well as the chat box. Today, we're going to use the questions box for questions. And what we'd love to hear from you now is in the chat box. Let us know where you're from. Just throw it in the chat box, and we want to see where you all are located. Awesome. Keep those coming. Keep them coming. Oh my gosh,
Spokane,
Robert.
Washington, Wilmington,
Yeah.
Delaware. Got Las Vegas is in the house. Yeah.
Oh, love it.
Man, I wish we were going to Vegas for family reunion. Sorry it didn't happen this year, Vegas. Hey, we're gonna get back there. Hey, our friends in Upper Marlboro are in the house here. We got Lakeisha's here. Terry's here in Memphis. Man, we got all kinds. Walnut Creek, California. Hi, Jim. Thanks for spending your morning with us. It's lunch for everybody else, brunch for you Californians. So welcome aboard. Hey, we got Jim and Phil in Austin. Hey, Nate, we got Naples, Maine. I didn't know there was a Naples, Maine. We got Ellie, South Africa. Janice is here from South Africa today. Hey, Janice, thanks for being with us. Hey, right in your backyard, Vivian's here from Charlotte. So we got the Carolinas in the house. We got Wisconsin, Wichita, Vincent out in Philadelphia. Boy, DC suburbs. Hey, Jen, thanks for being with us. My friends out in Flower Mound, we got Edwina. I see Grand Rapids. We got all the states, and we got South Africa. We got the couple of continents covered here, Tammy. And it looks to me like it's 12:01. We got about 400 of you here ready to go, and they're still coming on. So again, we're gonna get it started. Tammy, get us underway. Let's get the show under the road and supercharge the revenue.
That's it. Well, like Steve said, so, welcome to 3 simple steps to supercharge your revenue engine in 2021. We are so glad that you are joining us, as today we're going to show you how to attract more listings and sales using the 3 core principles from our Never Ending Referral system. As I said at the top of the hour, my name is Tammi Juengst, and I am joined here with my co-coach, Steve Schlueter. As I mentioned, today we're going to show you how to attract more buyers and sellers without cold calling, without facing rejection, and without chasing internet leads. Doesn't that sound awesome, right? We are going to give you some really valuable tools today. So grab a pen and paper, and we are going to jump in. And so here's where I'm going to start, guys. Let's just be real, right? Rejection is a real thing. I mean, I know over the years we have been told that we should reframe rejection in ways like, well, they're not saying no to you, they're just saying no to your offer. Or, well, they're not picking up the phone because they truly are busy. It's not because they don't want to talk to you. And yet many feel the fear of rejection when reaching out to people they know and talking about business. Now, because of that, they neglect those relationships and they trade them in for cold calling and prospecting to strangers, chasing the business essentially. I mean, Gary Keller he's talked about this for years. He says agents are addicted to prospecting and chasing business. And honestly, much of our training for years has been transactional focus, meaning, teaching us to hunt, if you will, versus being relational. Not much was ever taught on how to really succeed through having and cultivating professional relationships. Now, because such a high percentage of agents focus on cold calling versus pouring value into those current relationships, well, today, huge, big money is being poured into our industry, attempting to place themselves between you and your clients. Well, in fact, Steve, many of us emboldened them and we financed them by buying leads from them for years. And guys, often not great leads at that. So here's the thing, now is your time. Guys, it's time to step into your place as their trusted advisor, to add so much value to your databases that we actually disrupt the disruptors. While doing this, think about this. You get to build a predictable business, one that's more predictable than ever before, and you get to have more fun doing that. Think about this. What would it feel like to wake up every January 1st knowing where your first 36, 50, 100, maybe 200 sales are coming from? So Steve and I have a goal today, and that is to help two types of agents. For those of you who have a sizable database already, we're going to give you tactics that allow you to add value to those relationships in a way that really will cause them to get more engaged with you as their trusted advisor. This means that they call you. In fact, in Never Ending Referrals, we say that the magic happens when they trust, listen, and ask you. That means that you have really become that valued resource for them. Now, for those of you who may have a smaller database, maybe you're newer to the area where you live, or maybe you're newer to the business. Well, we've got something for you too. We're going to share a simple tactic that will substantially add new quality relationships to your database quickly. So, over the next 60 to 65 minutes, our goal is to get you to truly believe that being the trusted advisor to your database and having an on-purpose system that allows them to see you that way, well, guys, that's the key. That's the key to unlocking a business that just liberates you from cold prospecting and allows you to get those amazing come list me calls and those buyer clients that are ready to buy now. So today we're going to give you 3 simple steps from our Never Ending Referral system that will get you started on that journey. Also, as a programming note, you're going to want to stay with us to the very end because we are going to be giving those of you who do some incredible tools. So you might be asking, who are we and why are we qualified to bring this to you today? As I mentioned at the top of the webinar, my name is Tammi Juengst. I have been with Keller Williams for about 17 years. I was Rookie of the Year that first year, hired an assistant during my first year, and truly built a business that primarily came from an incredible database. I am also a MAPS Bold coach and a MAPS group coach of the program Never Ending Referrals, which Steve and I are here sharing from today. I'm also very honored to be a KWU International Master Faculty member. I live in beautiful, sunny Lake Norman, North Carolina. I've got 2 grown sons, and I am very blessed to share life with my amazing husband, Bruce. So, Steve, why don't you share a little bit about you? Because I love to call you a Keller Williams classic.
Keller Williams classic. I love that one, Tammi. Yeah. Well, and that's I've been with Keller Williams since we've had 3,600 agents. And prior to Keller Williams, I was one of the top 20 RE/MAX agents in the state of Texas, and actually got recruited by Gary Keller to lead one of his market centers as a team leader, the Austin Northwest Market Center. So I had the privilege of working directly for Gary. He was my OP as a team leader for 4.5 years. In fact, Real Trends ranked our market center during that time is the 4th highest producing real estate office in transactions in North America, all real estate companies. And so that began my career with Keller Williams. And I have the privilege of being KW Master Faculty. I'm a multi-market center owner. I'm a Bold coach, and of course, the partners with you, Tammi, here on Never Ending Referrals. And as far as on the personal side, I live in San Antonio and Round Rock, Texas, where my market centers are in Round Rock and Georgetown. Have 2 wonderful daughters, a grandson named Luke, and Luke, I am your grandfather. There you go. I had to do that. And share my life here with our home in San Antonio with my partner Shelly Shea and 2 little dogs, Chico and Sophie. So, Tammi, let's kind of keep on going here.
Yeah, well, I think before we do that, it would be very impactful for you to share a story about really how all of this got started, because guys, it's a really amazing journey, and it really, I think it's something that so many of you will be able to relate to in how we arrived where we are.
Yeah, I mean, really, my journey, Tammi, to embracing a relationship-based business, it didn't come naturally. In fact, I started my real estate career at the age of 23, coming out of the retail grocery business. The top agent at the Century 21 office I worked at, her name was Jerry Misko. In fact, in the slide, you see Jerry Misko there on the left side of the slide. And Jerry sat right behind me in this open bullpen area that we were in. And, of course, this is, it's a time where training's not really abundant. Our office didn't really have much in the way of training. And I guess like so many new agents at the time, I was really struggling to get my footing. And yet I needed to figure this out and I needed to make it work. I had a pregnant wife at home. I was getting pressure to really get results. In fact, that ugly word, JOB, was coming up a lot, right? And man, I didn't want to go there. And that's a whole nother story. And I was doing the typical things. I mean, I was doing the open houses. I started farming the area around which we lived. And yet I'm still struggling to make the sales that I needed. And one day I sat down with Jerry and I asked her for guidance. I said, how is it you're getting such great results? I mean, you at the time she was selling 10 or 12 homes a month. And this was a time when people weren't selling those kind of numbers. And I said, how are you getting your farm to produce, those kind of numbers and those kind of results? And of course, I found out she'd been farming the area where she lived as a big master plan community called Anderson Mill in Northwest Austin. And she'd been working it for over 6 years. And she complimented the work I was doing. And she said, you're doing the right things. It's going to pay off. And yet the real secret, she said, and this is one of the key, she said, the real secret, she said, Steve, is be friends with all your clients. She said most of her business was coming from referrals and repeats, not necessarily her farm. She said, focus on being people's best friend and your business will flourish. Your career will flourish. Now, I thank Jerry. I appreciated her guidance and her encouragement. And honestly, here's what I want you to know. I left that conversation full of anxiety. She said, be everyone's friend, she said. And I thought to myself, I've got 4 friends. I need buyers and sellers. And by the way, that was my socially introverted self-talking. I'm a really high assertive. The idea of being everybody's best friend, whoa, that just didn't sit with me. Yet I understood what she said. And I said, I'm more committed to success in this business than what my behavior would keep me from. So I bought a database program. It's called Q&A back then. And I put the 26 people I knew, because I'd only lived in Austin a year. And, the few leads that I had, I put into my system. And I believed her. And I was willing to start moving in that direction. And at this time, I'm probably 7-8 months into the real estate business. A couple of months later, Jerry invites me to attend a conference in New Orleans. And at this point, so now I'm 10 months in the business and I'm struggling. Remember, I'm getting that pressure at home. And I just tell Jerry, I can't go. I don't have the money to go. And Jerry refuses to take no for an answer. And Jerry Misko, if you're out there listening to this, thank you. She refuses to take no for an answer. She says, if you're serious about being successful, you have to go. And if money's an issue, I'll share my hotel room with you. It's got 2 beds and you can share the hotel room with me. And I took her up and I did go. The second day of the conference, I attended the feature speaker's breakout session. He was talking about lead generation. And he shared a script on how to secure expired listings. And here's the thing, guys. I'm 10 months in the business, and this is the first time I ever heard that there was such a thing as expired listings. This was a completely new concept. So that evening, I'm sitting down with Jerry, and I said, coach me on this a little bit. How do I find, these expired listings to work? Now, we had just come out of the era of the MLS book. Now, only you guys that are like 30 years in the business will know about that. We had just come out of that era, and we were just going to computers. She coached me on how to find these. And she encouraged me to pursue that opportunity. She said, do that well, Steve, and you're going to get more past clients faster that you can add to your database. But never forget that, you building those relationships is the most important thing. In fact, I calculated, I said, if I'm really effective with this over the next 6 years, within 6 to 7 years, I can have a business that the relationships or the database is my main avenue. Well, here's the thing, guys. Things didn't go exactly as I had intended. My business did take off. It took off in a big way. The next 12 months, I went from my first 10 months doing 4 or 5 transactions to the next 12 months doing 42, and most which were expireds. I put them in my database, and yet here's the thing. I really didn't work them actively. I didn't work them for referrals. I wasn't communicating actively. I'd send an occasional mailing. And really, quite honestly, all this was serving me really well for about 4 years. And all of a sudden, the market started coming out of an extreme buyer's market where there had been tons of expireds. And all of a sudden, it shifted. And it shifted fast. It shifted fast to a seller's market with very little inventory. And I was struggling to get listings. And my business was suffering. I was truly in that place where where's the next deal coming from? Because the things that were working before weren't working. Tammi said something earlier. She talked about being addicted to prospecting. And that had happened to me. You know, rather than going to my database, my next inclination was, well, for sale by owners. You know, that's more abundant right now. And yet they weren't coming as abundantly as expireds had previously. And so kind of looking for answers, one day I went to a board of realtors. They were advertising a speaker. And so I went on a Wednesday afternoon, and that Wednesday afternoon was a career defining moment. Maybe today's a career defining moment for you. There was a gentleman, he's passed away now. His name was Howard Britton. And Howard Britton was in town and he was doing a presentation, and he talked about, almost in passing, one of the star power stars who, these were the people he would interview, right? One of his star power stars positioned herself as the trusted advisor with her real estate, database, or a trusted resource. And in that moment, I remembered the conversation I had with Jerry early in my career. We had gone to different companies and not been in touch. And I remember Jerry telling me about being friends to your clients. And I mentioned how anxiety provoking that was. Yet as I sat there and listened to Howard recalling that conversation, I said, being the trusted advisor, that's something I could get my head around. That's something that I can embrace and go out and take a position as. Now, here's what I want you to know. Up to this point, my business had plateaued at about 50 transactions. And that's not uncommon. When we're out there chasing, there's only so much chasing you can do. You just run out of energy. And I kept prospecting FSBOs and expired listings selectively. And now I started to market and communicate with my database very intentionally. And here's what happened. The next year, 3 years, saw my business grow to 60, 76, and then 102 transactions, with about half of it coming from my database. And I didn't want to be everybody's best friend. I didn't have to be. I went out and I took a position as their valued, trusted real estate resource, their trusted advisor. And here's what happens ultimately. As a result of that shift in strategy, others took notice of what I was doing in my business. I was asked to speak at our company's annual convention, and I began to mentor agents in my office. I was at Remax at the time, and on one of my transactions, an agent on the opposite side from another company asked if I would mentor her, and I did. She later went to Keller Williams, and when they were seeking a team leader, it was her voice that said, this guy really serves people. I think he'd be a great team leader. And she ultimately was my sponsor when I joined Keller Williams. And so, in fact, Tammi and I think I could say that helping one agent is really what opened the door to my career path with KW and with leadership. 22 years of leadership and coaching career with Keller Williams, multi-market center ownership, bold coaching. All this came, just from being of service to people. Now, here's the last thing I want to say about this, Tammi, and that's this. Most importantly, the focus of pivoting from transactional to relational really reignited my love for the real estate business. Honestly, I was getting tired of chasing. I was chasing business constantly, and the business now was kind of at this place where it was becoming fun again. So here's what we're going to do today, folks. Tammi and I are going to share with you 3 secrets, that are going to supercharge your business in 2021. And the great thing is they're simple. And secret number 1 is this, and we're going to break these down for you in detail. And again, at the end, stay with us to the end, because we're going to give you a resource to download, that's going to help you implement these 3 secrets today, plus a powerful script that we're going to role play for you. So secret number 1 is this, and I want you to hear this. You're just one conversation away from a powerful database. And we'll get into what does that mean, and yet everything can change in one conversation, provided you have the right conversations. Secret number 2 is, and this is a big one, the conversation is the relationship. I wish we had time to talk about the Barbara story here, but you'll hear it in Never Ending Referrals, or maybe you've heard it in bold. And then secret number 3 is about adding value. It's about becoming the trusted advisor. And so we're going to get into these and we'll break each one down. And yet I want to give you a little bit more perspective on one of the key kind of resources that we're going to talk about in a moment. And I think it's important to understand an experience that I had that brought this along. As I mentioned earlier, helping others succeed with their database and their business is something I enjoy. And back in 2008, when we were going into the Great Recession, Tony DeCello and I were asked to take the Shift book on the road with what we called the Shift book tour. And so I'm out with Tony and we're in Chicago. We've got about 700 people in the room. And we got to the place in the afternoon where we talked about database. And Tony asked this question to the audience. And he said, please stand if you are touching your Met database, your connected contacts, 28 to 33 times per year. Now, back then, MREA prescribed 33 touches. He said, please stand, and it could be mail, direct mail, email, personal contact, face-to-face, over the phone, however you're doing it, at least 28 to 33 times a year, please stand. Now, Tammy, 15% of that room stood up that day. And Tony and I, we did one of these. We looked at each other and we're going, that's not good.
It's not good.
And I thought, well, that wasn't good. Then Tony asked the next question. He said, remain standing. And here's my question for you. Of you standing, how many of you are doing a pure 33 touch? Meaning included in that are at least 4 conversations that are face-to-face or over the phone. You actually have a dialogue with them. And if that's true, remain standing. The rest of you, please sit down. It went from 15% of the room, folks, to 3%. Now, we thought maybe that's an isolated deal. Is that just Chicago? But we asked that question room after room, month after month, regrettably, Tammy, year after year. And this 3% kept showing up. And we said, something's got to be done. And so we developed a little something we call DTD2. And it stands for doing the database to. And if you probably won't remember that, you'll remember it later. It's going to be in your handout, but doing the database to. And we'll break this down and some of the benefits of it in a moment. But what does DTD2 do? It's a schedule. It defines who you're going to call and when by last name. So if you look at, the C and K group up here on the screen, as the theme, your cash cow is paying off. Anybody whose last name begins with C or begins with K that week gets a phone call. Now you might go, Steve, that sounds like oversimple. And yet we all know it's important to call the database, and yet what you do when you call them, how you engage them, these are all the things we're going to talk about, today. And this is, a vital little piece. And we'll talk about how it all fits together. Because we have this saying at coaches that says, people grow into the conversations you have around them. And what Tony and I realized was that 3% crisis could be the 97% opportunity for our agents. And we asked, how do we create a sticky conversation? Maybe gamify the process of staying connected to one's database. Now, here's the other thing we learned along the journey. We learned that there was a big resistance to working this way. There was lots of call bias due to neglect of the relationships, and people didn't know what to say to reignite them. They would actually rather connect with strangers than people they knew. So we developed DTD2 as a strategy to keep the conversation active, around getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, connecting with their database, and to make sure we kept talking about it. And truly, one of the biggest gifts to our students of DTD2 has been getting out of call bias. Tammy and I introduced DTD2 from our Never Ending Referral program to Bold 2.0 back in April of 2019 when we did to Bold 2.0. And every week we heard stories of success from people making connections from every Bold room in the country that they were having success with conversations with people they ordinarily would have passed over. They would have made a judgment whether that was an opportunity or not. So if they were following, and think about this, if they weren't following and committed to DTD2 and the discipline of staying out of call bias, they would have missed massive amounts of opportunity.
Well, it's so true. And so, what we really came to realize, guys, is DTD2 is the recipe. It is absolutely the recipe for success with your database. And here are some of the reasons why that is, right? It becomes your schedule forever. There's a saying that says, once you know something, you can't unknow it. And so, when we paired together these two letters and we give you that schedule, well, calling those two letters of the alphabet, by last name in your database, that becomes your schedule forever. And it goes right into that next thing, which is it gives you a beginning and an end each week. And here's what I mean by that. How many of you have ever walked into the office on a Monday morning and said, who should I call today? Right? Or I don't know who to call. Or maybe it was that you went out of the office on Friday not really sure if you did everything that you should be doing to really pour value and grow your business. As Steve said, it's a conversation that we all grow into, and it certainly is a commitment that keeps you out of call bias. Here's the other thing. We have really put in some social media setup, if you will, to support you having more powerful connections, meaning they actually pick up the phone. Imagine this. Imagine your ability to be able to target a message or a post, right, that creates curiosity that would enhance the probability that someone would actually pick up the phone. Even better, what if you knew how to mirror your social media to your database so that social media actually powered you into having really powerful conversations, right? Let's say that you had a fantastic post and you could put it out there and it would kind of tease people with what you're excited about. And you might actually even say, hey, watch for my call. Well, one of the things that we have shared with Never Ending Referrals is a system that's going to allow you to use that same message for 13 weeks. And not everybody on your friends list is going to see it. What? It is so cool, right? So we love that. And last and certainly not least, it is your maintenance schedule. Guys, our cars don't run without maintenance. Our houses don't stay running without maintenance. And our databases are very much the same. Meaning every time you have a conversation, you're going to add information. This is what really allows that database to become just that invaluable tool that it's meant to be.
Well, and I think about a tool, Tammi, and I want to go back to this idea of the conversation, having it around each other, and having DTD2 as a schedule. Marcus Hevlin's a team leader in the Nashville area, former Bold coach, great leader. And in Bold October, Marcus was one of our coaches' corner, and he had two of his agents from his market center, mega agents, who were sticking to the DTD2 discipline. And he talked about how DTD2 had transformed their entire market center. That people were adopting this habit, and by having the discipline around each other to do it, and to have and take the conversations that we share that are effective, that get results, that create connection. He talked about it completely transforming their market center. And, and transformation happens, guys, just one decision at a time. So, and here's the thing, I really want to address this, and because, you're hearing us talk about picking up the phone, and it's natural to resist making phone calls. I don't think any of us get up going, woo, let's go. We might do it to psych ourselves up. And yet many times the issue around this is we feel like we're taking. Our system is about contribution. The conversations and the tactics we teach in the Never Ending Referral system are all about adding value to people and building a strong professional relationship with you being their trusted advisor. Now, here's the thing. We would see resistance in the classroom to engaging their relationships, yet students discovered when they used this approach that people appreciated the outreach, and especially when it was client focused. We've always had this saying in Bold, we brought recently as we were dealing through the COVID era. We said service first, sales second.
Yeah, I mean, and I love this, Steve, because it really, secret number one is, it just takes one conversation, right? One conversation. And so we're going to go into what is secret number two. And Susan Scott, great author, by the way, she says to us, the conversation is the relationship. And that's secret number two. So if the conversation is the relationship, well, then it really is about having more conversations with as many people as possible in your database. So with that in mind, in Never Ending Referrals, we share something that is called the 3-attempt approach. Now, the 3-attempt approach is what gives you part of that recipe, right? The beginning and the end each week, meaning at the end of the week, you know that you did the most important work for your business. So I want to go back and I want to talk about conversation, Steve. I mean, many agents, they just don't know how to have these value-added conversations. What is it that makes us that trusted advisor so that we don't have to be friends with everybody, so to speak, right? And here's the thing, when we don't know how to have those value-added conversations, well, then many times agents are winging it. And then it's only natural to feel the fear of rejection. Now, let me give you an example. I mean, how many of you have ever made calls during times or to people where you felt that they would be less likely to pick up the phone, right? Meaning that you dialed and then you went, please don't pick up the phone, please don't pick up the phone, please don't pick up the phone, please let me leave a voicemail, right? I mean, here's the thing, we've all done it. And yet that's why in Never Ending Referrals, we have built out those conversations or dialogues or scripts, so to speak, that really fit all of your unique behavioral styles, your personality styles, and it does not set you up for rejection. Now, I mean, whether that rejection is real or if it's perceived, here's the thing. Making peace with the understanding that the conversation is the relationship, remember secret number two, it's something that we simply must do. And we've learned that referrals, well, I mean, they're generated most often during those conversations or shortly following those conversations. So one of the things that we've learned is, conversations are the one thing, and you see that on your screen. They are the one thing to building a powerful referral machine rather. It's not voicemails, right? So if the conversation is the relationship, well, let's dig into that 3-attempt approach and how when we commit to it, it can significantly increase the number of conversations that you're gonna have each week. So on your screen, we're gonna show you what that 3-attempt approach looks like. Let's say that I go in the office on Monday and it's A and W week, meaning everybody that has the last name of A and W is going to get a call from me. So on Monday, I start working my way down through that list. And let's say I have 50 people. Maybe I connect with 20 of them, right? Now I'm going to talk about voicemails in just a moment. And so if I connected with 20, it meant that I still had 30 that I hadn't connected with. Now, if I weren't following the 3-attempt approach, I would have contacted 20 of those 50. And yet what's going to happen is now on Wednesday, I'm going to reach back out to the 30 people I was not able to reach. And maybe I connect with 10. Maybe I connect with 10 more. So now I'm up to 30 of my 50. Now, again, on Thursday or Friday, a time block that works for you before the end of the week, I'm going to reach back out to the 20 that I have not yet been able to reach. And let's say that I get another 10, maybe it's 15. And now you see that because I used that 3-attempt approach, I've now connected with more people than I would have if I just worked on it on one day. Now let me go back to voicemails. Now when I'm reaching out on Monday, I might leave a voicemail that sounds, like this. Hey Steve, Tammi Juengst over here at Keller Williams. Hey, just reaching out to touch base, see how you and Shelly are doing. No need to call me back. I'll reach back out to you later in the week. So we're gonna make it okay for them not to call us back. Now, some of you might be going, excuse me? What? What do you mean make it okay for them not to call me back? You just said The conversation is the relationship. Here's the thing. I know I've done it. Steve, I'm sure you've done this too. I mean, how many of you out there have ever got a voicemail from somebody and you forgot to call them back? And then the next time that you saw their name pop up on your phone, you were like, ooh, oh my gosh, I totally forgot to call them back. And all of a sudden, the likelihood that you're going to answer goes like this. So we've got to make it okay for them to call back. Now, when I reach back out to those folks on Wednesday, if I don't get them again, I'm not going to leave a voicemail. I told them I was going to call. They'll see that I called. And then those who I still have not reached by the end of the week on that Thursday or Friday, I'm going to leave very similar message, make it okay for them not to call me back. And I'll probably just add, something like, hey, I'm so sorry we weren't able to connect this week. I'm sure that we'll touch base later in the future. Have a fantastic weekend, right? And then I'm going to follow it up with a personal note. So it's just so incredibly important that we make it okay for them not to call us back.
Well, Tammi and I look at this, and quite honestly, when we know that we've forgotten and we get busy, we carry guilt around on that potentially. And the last thing you ever want to impart upon people in your database is a feeling that they owe you something, or they're, you never want them to have a guilt around your relationship. So never set that up. This is how you set yourself up never to be rejected. Now, I want to talk to you about the 3-attempt approach and this man right here. And this is David Huffaker. And David Huffaker is a mega agent in the Nashville, Tennessee area. In fact, he serves a large part of Middle Tennessee. And David was the fastest agent in Keller Williams that we know of to 100 million in sales. And he did that in about 5 years. And, David took our Never Ending Referrals program 3 times. He's, DTD2 is just a part of the way his team does it. And the 3-attempt approach, well, let me tell you about his experience with the 3-attempt approach. He noticed referrals starting to go down, and he started to investigate a little bit. And it was during a busy time, and what he found is a lot of the team members were doing their DTD2 calls on Thursday before the Friday meeting. They'd load them up in a dialer and they'd blast through them. And he said, dude, guys, that defeats the whole purpose. The purpose of DTD2 is to make sure we have the conversation. And he got him back on the discipline of the 3-attempt approach. And immediately the referrals, they come back up, because the conversation, folks, it is the relationship. So just really clear on this. This is a big piece of making sure we succeed. Well, let's get into number 3. Number 3, the secret number 3 is becoming the trusted advisor. And, when we think about being the trusted advisor, again, that was really helpful to me because I didn't want to be everybody's best friend. Probably when I talked about that earlier, some of you had anxiety over that. And in Never Ending Referrals, we teach many methods, messages, to go ahead and develop our position as that trusted advisor. Today, we're going to spotlight the power of building a business-to-business database via a conversation we call the 5-star script. And this is a powerful, powerful tactic. And I think to set the tone of understanding for how big an opportunity this is, I want to shed some perspective on this. One of the things about business to business is mindset. It's agents not realizing their worth to their business community and the opportunity it can translate into. Think about this for a second. As a realtor, you're often the first, second, or third point of contact for someone new moving into your area. Now, think about this. If you're a business owner or operator, wouldn't you value a relationship with the person who knows those new people moving into the community? I know I would. Now, and then Gary Keller, 2-3 years ago from the stage, I believe it was Family Reunion, and he said, he talked about this being the local economist of choice, the trusted advisor. He said, folks, why are people going to Angie's List? They shouldn't be going to Angie's List. They should be calling you. Many of us have heard of networking groups for business-to-business relationships, things like BNI, Business Networking International. And yet as a realtor, it's tough to get in those. That's the most coveted spot. There's only one of each, profession in there. And with this method, you can build your own business-to-business community. And networking groups are great, and yet this is a really powerful approach. Now, I want to share with you this. Part of being the trusted advisor is being that resource for your database, not just when they need to buy and sell. We know that's like a 10-year cycle now, right? At least that's what they're saying today, the consumer is saying. And this is something where you become a go-to resource in their lifestyle needs. Think of yourself maybe as their local lifestyle concierge. And now here's something we're going to model for you in a minute. Think about this. What if they could be the bridge to you adding value to them? Let me say it again. What if they could be the bridge to you adding value to them, meaning your database? They help you vet and build out those business and professional relationships that you might ultimately refer and nurture to others in your database. And so let's explore how that conversation might go. Now, I want to get your full attention right now. I want you to listen carefully. Don't be distracted. In this moment, man, in this moment right now, you want to hear this. This conversation that Tammi and I are about to have, business to business, will add, I think in 3 conversations, will add you one high quality new business relationship to your database today if you choose to act on it. In fact, Tammi and I are going to role model this for you right now. And so you'll get a sense of this. Now, by the way, today at the end of the program, if you're with us at the end, I'll be putting in the chat box a link to this conversation and some other resources. So stick with us. We're gonna make sure you get the tools that you can put to use today. So Tammi, let's model the 5-star conversation with them.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Tammi, Steve Schlueter over at Keller Williams. How are you doing?
Hey, Steve, I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. Hey, I'm just reaching out to my peeps to see how the world's treating you. How are you and Bruce doing in the world of COVID right now?
Fortunately, knock on wood, we are good and everyone's healthy. Thanks for asking. How about you guys?
It's been actually kind of crazy. I've got my team working from home mostly, and yet we're all busy. I mean, the real estate market is off the chain, busy right now. And so we've been very fortunate. And you guys still working from home?
We are.
Oh, yeah. How's that working out?
It was a challenge at first, and it's like a well-oiled machine now.
We kind of figure it out. We adapt, don't we?
Yeah.
Hey, let me tell you why I called today, Tammi. I could really use your help. Do you have 2 minutes to help me with a little project I'm working on?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, wow. Well, we're building a directory of what we call 5-star providers. And especially in the COVID world, I mean, everybody has different needs today. And we're building a directory of the best resources. And we're actually going out to our people, our friends, our sphere of influence, our past clients like you, to help us find these great people we can add to our directory. And I'm just curious, who in the last 2, 3, 4 weeks has given you and Bruce a really great, I would call it a 5-star experience? They blew you away. Did you have any experiences like that recently?
Oh gosh, what a great question. I love that you're doing this for all of us. Yeah, as a matter of fact, we did, Steve. We just did, a huge project in our backyard. Sod, irrigation, landscaping, and in fact, they just finished it last week, and it was awesome.
Wow. And so, and just they did a really nice job, sounds like, huh? Anything
Yeah.
really special about the experience? What, other than the great look they gave you, what else made it really great working with those guys?
You know what? It wasn't a project where my backyard was tore up for a month. We still have our dog, and we live in North Carolina, and the dirt is orange, and so they did everything. It was like in and out, and instantly we had a backyard in a week. So I think it
Wow.
was not just the results; it was how fast they did it.
Yeah. What's the name of the organization that did this for you?
It's 5 Trees Landscaping.
5 Trees Landscaping. And wow, I'd love to include them in our directory. Who would be the best person for me to connect with there?
Actually, his name is Doug Nesbitt.
Doug Nesbitt. Okay, I'm perfect. And I would get Doug's number. Hey, well, I really appreciate that, Tammi. And by the way, when I reach out to Doug, would it be okay if I let him know that you gave me his name?
Absolutely, that would be great.
Perfect. Well, hey, thank you for helping me with that. And I'll talk to him about getting him included in our directory. hey, there might be another area you can help me in. And that is, about this time of year, I start getting a lot of requests for CPAs or tax preparers. And quite honestly, I don't really have a 5-star CPA that I can, connect folks with right now. Do you happen to have somebody in the CPA space that you might be able to introduce me to that's kind of 5-star? Hang on, Tammi.
I'm sorry. We
Take a
don't.
swig. So Tammy's going to reply, okay, so that she doesn't have a great CPA referral, and that's okay. And I said, well, Tammi, let me ask you a question. When I find that great CPA, because I know my network is going to reveal somebody who's really amazing. When I find that great CPA referral, would you like me to connect you with them? And she's going to affirm yes, because she says, I really don't have a great one and I do need one. And so we wrap up that piece of the conversation. And I say, well, Tammi, thanks for taking time to help me today with this. And back soon as we've got it put together, I'll tell you how to access the directory and we'll get it out to you. In the meantime, is there anybody that you know of that we may be able to serve in the real estate space? Is there anybody who can take advantage of these below 3% interest rates to buy, or anybody you know that has a pending move that might be selling? It's an amazing market right now. So Tammi, anybody you know like that? No, she's healing over there, and it's the beauty of life, guys, right? Here you go. And she says, no, I really don't know anybody right now. And so I say, well, hey, I sure appreciate your helping me today. And by the way, Tammi, no, we're here to serve you, not just with your real estate needs. If you ever need referrals, I mean, painters, resources, and now we got 5 Trees Landscaping, please reach out to us. We want to make sure we give you the best of the best. And these are people coming from our clients and, people we really know and trust. So thank you for your help, and we'll get back to you on how to access that. So Tammi, give Bruce my best. And let me ask you this before I let you go. What are you and Bruce itching to do when we get past all this COVID stuff?
Well, you know this. We are going to do anything that takes us on an airplane.
Gonna get on an airplane and get out of town. I can appreciate that.
Yes.
Well, Tammi, thanks so much. I really appreciate you taking a few minutes to help me with our directory. So, all right, Tammi, are you able to clear that?
Well, let's see. I'm so sorry, everybody. Here's live television, right? That's crazy. Yeah, I would love to, because this is one of my favorite things, and I don't know what just happened to my voice. Here's the thing. I mean, there are so many things that happen in this conversation. Number one, Steve just got a warm referral, right? He got a warm referral. He's going to be able to use my name when he calls the landscaping company. The other thing is, think about the relationship equity that he just created, excuse me, between that landscaping company and myself. Right now, my landscaper thinks that I'm pretty awesome because I'm sending him referrals, and the referral is a realtor that's in the area. So, I mean, it's a fantastic referral. Then he also opened the door, to be able to bring me more value and call me back with, a CPA. And so, this is just such an amazing, amazing thing. And when you think about the businesses that you're probably going to be interacting with, they're probably small business owners in your area that are like-minded like you. And, Steve, I know that you love to talk about something else, one other part of this, and I'm going to let you do that. And yet I want you all to really realize that when you have these conversations with somebody and you're pouring value into your local business community, that, all of a sudden what happens is you get access to their database, right? They're going to eventually start to refer you. And Steve, talk a little bit more about that, especially with the CPA part.
Well, and think about this, guys. And when I get that CPA connection from my database, and by the way, the CPA is just a placeholder for whatever space I might be trying to fill. And I try to think of, no, there's no try. I think of something that might be timely right now that people might ask around, because these folks might have the same need and I can make a connection. And I might go until I get 3 CPAs that are 5-star rock stars. Now I might have 15 people through I'm making my DTD2 calls that have said they would love to have a great CPA referral. And so think about what happens. And by the way, we teach you in Never Ending Referrals the conversations to have when you reach out to the business contacts. And you reach out to the business contact, and in this case with the CPA, I might have 5 referrals that I can give to the CPA at the beginning of the relationship that I can connect them with. Think about what that does to build a powerful bridge into that relationship. I really become a trusted, connected person with that individual really quick. So all that being said, and again, we're going to share that script with you at the end. I mean, we've got about 15 minutes to go here, and at the end, we'll be sharing that script and some other resources with you. And Casey Jorgensen, this is a gentleman in one of my offices. He'll do about 60 million in sales this year. Last year, they did over 262,000 in GCI from business networking through a BNI group. And actually 3 separate chapters, he and 2 other team members, 3 separate chapters. Now again, BNI stands for Business Networking International. In fact, I'll tell you how to get a recording of that interview here in just a little bit at the end. And this could be an area that you might want to pursue as well. So that being said, Tammi?
Yeah, I mean, let's just recap this. And I want to do that by just asking you all a question. So, if you followed what we shared with you around secret number 1, right? And you followed the DTD2 schedule and the system, and then you embrace the understanding that the conversation is the relationship, and you truly applied secret number 2, that 3-attempt approach with well-designed conversations, and then you got real strategic with your message and your marketing, excuse me, to bring secret number 3 to life, truly become that trusted advisor for your business, right? They love you. Do you honestly think that you could be more successful in building a relationship-based business? So, Stephen, I want to ask you a question. In fact, I want to ask permission to share with you something that can truly help you with all of that. Would that be okay? And I'm going to trust that you're all going to answer yes to that. All right. So at Never Ending Referrals, our core product is our e-learning portal, and that e-learning portal contains the 8 core lessons of the Never Ending Referrals system. Now, guys, because it's an e-learning platform, you get instant access to it, and you have access to it 24/7. It contains over 100 short, 3 to 5 minute video lessons, and then over 50 full session recordings of Steve and I doing the lessons live, as well as additional interviews with experts in our field. The portal is just, I love it. It is such an amazing place, and you see some photos of that on your screen. Now, when you all, because we're just going to put it out there, right? When you join the Never Ending Referrals community, we're going to equip you to create those relationships that constantly send you referrals, because you've become that trusted advisor. Maybe even like Steve said, right? Their lifestyle concierge. Now, when you embrace this, the days of you buying Zillow, buying Realtor.com leads are going to be numbered. In fact, gosh, guys, you get to release worry and doubt, because the days of wondering where that next transaction are coming from, those are going to be numbered as well. Now, here's the thing. Steve mentioned this earlier. Best of all, you're not going to feel like you are taking from people any longer, always having to ask for business. And this is probably my favorite thing. You will get rid of that call reluctance, because you truly know that all of your engagements they're all about adding that value to the people that you speak to. Oh gosh, I see you put the roadblock up there. And here's the deal, guys, when we were first figuring this stuff out, we ran into a huge roadblock. Like, we didn't know how to have value-based conversations. Our messaging was muddy, it was inconsistent, and we did not have a system that created consistent habits that we needed to have. So we created the conversations, we created the messages, and we found the tools that worked. It took a lot of study, a lot of trial and error, and yet the effort has been so incredibly worth it. I mean, as we said, I'm going to go back. You know what? Because I'm sure that some of you kind of feel the same way. It cost us years of sleepless nights, wondering where that next transaction was coming from, before we discovered this. Guys, the fountain was already there. All we had to do was turn it on through having those meaningful conversations with our databases. Steve and I are here so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We want to share absolutely everything that you need to do to get those proven results and, quite honestly, like, fall in love with real estate again. Make it fun. So, when you join Never Ending Referrals, not only will you save the time and money that we spent to develop all this, you're also going to be saving yourself months or maybe years of wasted time and money that you might be spending on, buying leads, purchasing leads that rarely lead to closed business, right? There is no trial and error period with our system. Now, guys, you might be saying to yourself, wow, this might work for other people and it just isn't going to work for me. Or maybe it's, I haven't talked to the people in my database for so long that it's going to feel pretty awkward to call them now. Or maybe it's, I don't want to sound like I'm always calling about business, right? Now, if any of that sounds like you, or those are the things that you're saying to yourself, that is exactly why you are here today. And guys, you've got to join us on the journey to unlocking a business that you love, right? What if you have value-added reasons to call them? Truly valuable things to share with them. What if you were such a valued relationship that you didn't have to ask for business, right? You didn't have to ask for business because you were top of mind for them. They would call you. Guys, this is all possible. It is absolutely possible because we've seen the results. It's not a dream. It's not a dream, Steve.
It's not a dream. So
Not
let's
a
talk
dream.
about, what you get here in Never Ending Referrals and what the opportunity is that we have to offer you today. Now, the first piece of this is the instant access to our e-learning portal that Tammi talked about with all the videos, all the recordings, and that's a $699 value. Now, also, what we've got available to you is the second piece of our offering is we also do every quarter, we do the 8 sessions of Never Ending Referrals live. In fact, we kick off January 4th again with the live sessions. And that's where we take you and we look at all the tweaks, the additions, what do you have to do for this market of right now, where we're at in that moment? What is the right conversation that's going to get us the results that we desire? Now, let's talk about the 8 lessons of Never Ending Referrals. Session 1 is where we set the foundation. We look at what is the opportunity in your database? How many transactions can you reasonably expect? And we kind of set the stage with how do you live the 4 laws of the database? In session 2, we get into what we call who am I being for the database? And this is learning how to succeed with your natural behavioral style. To be authentically you. You don't have to put on airs like being everybody's best friend if that isn't who you are. You get to do it in a way that's authentic and genuine, and you learn the art of dialogue. In session 3, it's business to business and social media. We've already got a sense of, just a taste of that. And we really drive into how do you get social media to work for you in just a little bit of time, not being sucked into the vortex all day. In session 4, it's client events and parties. It includes a mega agent interview. And we learned that it's not about the party. It's what a party puts in motion. In session 5, we get into cementing the relationships. It's the 8 touches to the winning, to a lasting impression. It's how do we win the positioning battle to capture mind share. And in session 6, it's about becoming their trusted advisor. That's where we really look at all the ways through your messaging and through your 36 to 40 touch that you develop that position. Session 8, we debunk myths around geo-farming, that it takes too long and costs too much. We take you through the formulator to teach you, kind of maybe how big a farm you might choose to have. GeoFarm's the other database, folks. And then session 8, we pull it all together with your purposeful, personalized plan, and we get into video, the power of video. And so when we think about this, the results speak for themselves. Kristen Schlesinger here was holding her board at a MAPS coaching event, and she shared with me how she'd implemented Never Ending Referrals, and it took her right through to the $12 million mark, and she's still growing her business today. We talked about David Huffaker and how fastest agent to 100 million, just DTD2 and the 3 attempt approach and the commitment to the database. In fact, David says for every dollar they spend on the database, they get $50 in return. It's the highest return thing that you can absolutely do. Michael Flores, Houston, Texas. Michael's a bold coach. He took Never Ending Referrals as a brand new agent, and it drove his business to 18 million in sales. He became a bold coach, and this was when they're in the Classic Bowl, when we were teaching chasing, prospecting, FISBOs, expireds. And he said, as a bold coach, I have to be authentic, so I'm going to do those things. He became addicted to that. He got away from his database. In April of 19, when we went to Bold 2.0, Michael Flores says, well, I got to be authentic to this, so I got to go back to working my database. And he was scared to do it because he goes, I haven't been in touch with him. What if it doesn't pay off? And he had plateaued at about 50 transactions there when he went transactional. When he went back to the database, he went 75 transactions. This year, he'll be well over 100, and it's taken off like a rocket ship. So guys, all these things will work for you. And the key here, it's that making that decision to work smarter. Whether you're a seasoned agent and you're just kind of reigniting things with your database, or you're just maybe getting started in a new community and you don't even have a large database, business to business, we can help you build one quickly. Or maybe you're new to a real estate career. Either way, this is the foundation that you want to build. I love this slide. You said tomorrow yesterday, right? It seize the day. You might be thinking you can't get started with this because your database isn't put together or organized, or you're just busy chasing online leads. You just don't have the time. Or maybe you're looking for the instant gratification through for sale boners, expireds. Those are kind of tough right now, not many. Maybe you just don't want to talk to people that aren't doing something today. You don't have that art of small talk or dialogue. We teach you how to do that. Here's why that's a mistake that's going to hold you back from success if you don't move towards relational. You got to understand that doing this requires effort. It requires time on your part. It's not going to happen magically. Yet failing to do it now means that those valuable referrals, those repeat transactions, they're happening. They're just not happening with you. Some other agent is doing those transactions because you passed on fully developing this opportunity. It also means you get to keep chasing instead of attracting. Your business is less predictable, and you wake up on January 1st going, oh, heck, I got to do it all over again from zero. So this is a big issue. So we mentioned to you the e-learning portal, $699 value. The 8 live sessions we do with you quarterly, that's another $699 value. And, where we go from here is Tammi, tell them we're not done. What else, do we give them a value?
Well, it is. It's so much more. I mean, one of the things that we talked about earlier was what it was costing us, right? To constantly be just chasing those transactions, those sleepless nights, the 3 a.m. wake up call, right? Wondering where the next transaction was coming from. And so, what we've developed here in Never Ending Referrals, guys, it made it stop. It, excuse me, it created a love for our businesses. And part of that system are those scripts or the conversations, if you will, right? Not only are there scripted conversations through those 8 core lessons, Steve and I regularly are adding new scripts based on the current market of the moment. And that way you don't have to come up with these value-added reasons to call your database. We do that for you. We also know that your business will ultimately be the size of your database. So we're going to walk you through some exercises that will help you grow it quickly. And then, last, we like to keep things simple here when it comes to technology. We don't want you to get trapped in your technology. So we also have video tutorials that will help you set up your database, by the way, the right way, both simply and quickly. And so, again, just to recap it, guys, you get the e-learning portal valued at $699. You get the 8 sessions in that live format quarterly, and that, again, $699. And then you're also going to get all of these tools and scripts that pertain to the market of the moment, and that's a $299 value. Now, in addition to that, here's something else that we truly, truly love. In addition to those 8 live lessons, 3 additional times a month, Steve and I also do live interviews. And those live interviews are with experts in our field. And guys, they share their tried and true recipes for success. They share their models, their how-tos, things that you can implement right away. These are tons of fun. They're so informative, and our current members absolutely really love these.
Wow. So when we think about this, folks, and we take a look, and you add the deep dive, the interviews, another $499 in value, we've got over $2,196 worth of value. And now here's, obviously, we're not going to charge you $2,196. Yet if we did charge you $2,196 and all it did was put you into the position of the trusted advisor with your sphere of influence and past clients, would it be worth it to you? If all this system did was get you voice to voice or face to face with your database 4 times a year, would it be worth $2,196? And if all it did was give you the right conversations focused on adding value every quarter, every DTD2 cycle, would it be worth the $2,196? And what if all it did was grow your database by 100, 200 or more quality relationships that saw you as a valuable, trusted advisor? Then would it be worth it? Now, here's the thing, folks. Tammi and I had 2 choices. We could price this higher so that we could pour in more and more value, or we could make it really cheap so we get the maximum number of people enrolled. And quite honestly, we decided to do neither. And so think about this. If you had just 1 additional sale a month following the Never Ending Referrals program, what would this system be worth to you? How much would it cost you to have this? How much would it cost you not to have this system in place? You can see why someone would pay us $12,000 a year to coach them one-on-one, and those kind of results are better, because it's not a cost, it's an investment. So you've already know how it's worth $2,196. And even if at $598, which we would normally charge for all we're offering you today, it would be a great investment. Tammi and I chose not to compromise on value to make it cheap for maximum enrollment. We decided to pour the value on and offer it to you as a membership community. And guys, here's the magic. It's $39 a month. There's a 5-month minimum commitment. Most of our folks stay with us forever because we keep pouring the value on. And you get instant access right now to the online portal and self-paced lessons. Of course, the way you join us, you go to neverendingreferrals.com, and you go to the Join Now button, and you can join our community, and you'll have access today. So that being said, Tammi, you've got some thoughts.
Well, I do. I mean, I just want to put this in perspective for everybody. Because you've invested this time with us and you've proven that you guys really want to get this result. Steve and we just desire to make this easy. So if after 5 months, you get everything that you want, you cancel your membership. And yet, if you are like many of our students, like Steve said, and you're getting so much value with those quarterly scripts, those ongoing interviews, and just the constant updates to those core lessons, you can choose, like many other people have, to stay with us. And it's just the $39 a month. So guys, we are ready to partner with you, and we want you to do this. So go to neverendingreferrals.com and enroll today. And here's the thing. I've heard Gary say this so many times, Steve. He says, first you make the choice, and then the choice makes you. And at this point, guys, you have 2 choices, right? You can choose to do nothing. And if you don't do anything with the information that you've learned over the last hour, what will you get? Right? Or you could take that leap of faith and check it out and see if it will work for you. And yet we're going to make it really easy for you.
Well, here's the thing, guys. It's 100% money back guarantee. I mean, if you're not happy with the product, neither are we. And take the time, check it out, look at the strategies, dig into the material, and you've got 30 days risk-free to try it out. And of course, your initial investment is just your first $39 installment. And you get instant access to the portal and to start with us on the live journeys on January 1. So 100% guaranteed. And the real question is this, folks: is it worth gambling a few minutes to take the time to check this out? Even if it only does half of what we claim today, it'll pay for itself many times over in the first transaction that it generates for you. So remember, it's this: you've got the e-learning portal at $699 value. You got the 8 sessions live where we take you through those 8 lessons and we adjust them for whatever we're dealing with in your markets today. The market of the moment scripts and tools, we help you be creative. what's that old saying? Creativity is the ability to hide the source. So let us be your source. And then those 3 times a month, monthly deep dives and interviews, and all this comes to you. And we're excited to be partners with you on this journey. And as a bonus, for those that you get registered here in the next 30 minutes, tomorrow morning in your inbox, I'm going to have a bonus interview for you with Casey Jorgensen on how they did $260,000+ business to business through BNI chapters, and that'll be in your inbox tomorrow morning. What's that?
I said he did it in 12 months.
Did it in 12 months. So it's one of those business to business strategies. You might have wondered about it in the past, and so sign up in the next 30 minutes, and we'll make sure in your inbox tomorrow morning you've got that interview with Casey Jorgensen. Now, I do have in the handouts tab right now what we promised you today. We said we would have the download. So if you go to the handouts tab on your GoToWebinar control panel, you can download those resources. You've got the DTD2 schedule, an outline of the benefits of DTD2, and you've got that 5-star script. Now, I know you put many questions in there. We're going to stay around and go through some of these questions with you. Again, it's a $39 a month investment, minimum 5 months. You get the webinars for the 8 lessons are on Mondays at 12:30 Central Time. The deep dive interview webinars are on Thursdays at 10 a.m. Central Time. And those are the first, second, and third Thursdays, unless they're adjusted for a holiday or an event. And we're happy to take your questions now. Again, get signed up today. First 30 minutes, we're going to send you the interview. You can download now in the handout tabs the resources we offered you here today. Also, the link is in the chat box. So if you go to chat, you'll find the link to Never Ending Referrals. Go to Join Me. So Tammi, let's tackle some of the questions.
Yeah, so let me open some of these up. So somebody says, will this be considered the first month, or will it be the billing start in January?
They start immediately. Yeah, because you're going to have the portal today. I mean, as soon as you sign up, the system's going to send you a notification. It's going to send you the webinar information. In fact, you'll get multiple emails from MAPS Coaching, so be on the lookout for those. Hey, Stephanie, you're already a member. You're in, so you don't have to do anything. All this is included with your membership you already have at Stephanie Burrows. So thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah, so Stephanie, and then you bring up something really key. If you don't have access to your portal, send an email to maps@kw.com and they'll resend you an email. So, because you already have all this, you're already a member. So we want to make sure that you're doing it. And I'm scrolling down through.
Kip says signed up. He's good to go. Thanks, Kip. The interview, who's the interview with? It's Casey Jorgensen out of Austin, Round Rock, Texas. Yeah.
All right. Somebody says, how would you add to it today with that new knowledge of being relational? And Scott, let me go piggyback. Scott is, what was your script with those expireds? What was your most successful script? And how would you add to that now about being relational? That's a great one.
Favorite script with expireds?
Yeah, and making it more relational. And that's always tough.
And by the way, here's the thing: empathy is the way you do it. And when you reach out and you call an expired listing, and this is a great question. Is many times when you call an expired listing, you get this response that is, another realtor. And the place to go is don't start selling. Is you have to go to empathy. This is how relationships with somebody that's going through something really helps. Remember, if their listing expired today, something's wrong, right? That should never happen. And so if I get that feeling on, another real estate agent, and you hear it in their voice, it sounds like maybe you've had a few calls, right? And they go, yeah. I go like, he goes, yeah, I wish you guys would just quit calling. And I said, hey, I get it, man. It sounds like you've been barraged. I mean, how many phone calls have you had? You're like the 12th one. I said, ouch. Yeah, I guess nightmare continues. I'm so sorry you're going through that. And if you don't mind my asking, could I share with you why you're getting so many calls? And if my tone of voice comes there, Now I'm a human being having a human conversation.
Yeah.
Think about this. And it's because top agents like myself realize that somebody didn't get the job done for you. At least that's what it appears. I mean, let me ask you, where had you guys hoped to move? This is a conversation, right? It's not selling anymore. It's getting conversational. Where did you guys hope to move? And they say whatever they say. And well, let me ask you this. I mean, I'm really surprised your home didn't sell in this market. Do you feel like your agent was really proactive in their efforts to get their home sold, or were they passive? And 90% of the time, Tammy, what will they say?
I was reading questions, so I'm going to apologize.
Well, they'll say passive. You handle those questions. They'll say passive. And I said, in fact, next time you'd probably want to hire a really proactive agent, wouldn't you? And they'll say yes. And I'll say, would you agree that I'm being proactive with you right now? And they go, well, yeah. I said, that's the kind of agent you probably might want this time around. And, I know this is probably a real hassle right now going through this. And yet in 20 minutes, I can share with you what we do differently. And I'd love to set a meeting with you. Now, notice I'm still really going to sell. And yet the taking it to empathy is where it becomes relational. You empathize with what people are going through and you connect. You're no longer just a salesperson's voice on that other end. So I trust that helps.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Awesome. All right, Walt O'Berry, he says, tell me again, what are the 3 secrets? So number 1 is you are one conversation away from a powerful database. Secret number 2 is remember that the conversation is the relationship, and that's tied to the 3 attempt approach. And then secret number 3 is being that trusted advisor, bringing and adding value into those conversations so that they look to you as even more than just a real estate agent, as demonstrated by the 5-star script. So this is a great one, Scott. Scott, you are full of great questions today, and I know Scott's in our market here. Scott says, Steve, I've got 3,000 people in my database. How can I possibly get through all those calls 4 times a year? Is there a way to edit the list to maximize return? Not call bias, just better call performance, return on investment.
Well, take a digit off the end. So if you've got 3,000, take a digit off the end, it becomes 300, and then double it. That becomes 600. There's a thing called the 80-20 rule. So usually 80% of your referrals are going to come out of 20% of your database. So as you're working through your first DTD2 cycle, and keep in mind, this is actually doable. And, and remember, these are connected contacts. You'll excuse me, I'm pulling up a calculator because I want to do some math. So 3,000 divided by, I'm just going to go by 11 because 2 of the weeks are really small weeks. That's 272 contacts, that you would have per DTD2 group on average. Now, could you dial through those? You could. You could easily dial through the top 100. Who do we believe the top 100 are? And then work through those to figure out, a classification. Who are my, and we talked about this in one of the sessions, who are my advocates and core advocates? And part of this is how we have you set up your database, and you start with there. And when you start to get a really big return on your database, this was when you hire a customer experience person to come to work on your team who manages the rest of the database. I have one of the top state farm agents in the country as my insurance agent, and he has somebody who's assigned a group that I'm a part of that is my customer service liaison. So that would be how you do that.
That's awesome. Awesome. Maureen is asking, how do we set up our database? I think it's by last name, and the answer is yes. The DTD2 groups are actually paired together, based on census information that told us, what percentage of the population have the last name that begins with A, B, C, and we put them together strategically so that they were pretty even until you get to the last 2 weeks. And the last 2 weeks of that DTD2 cycle are light on purpose, right? I mean, they're light to give you a break, right? Everybody needs a break or you get burned out. And that way you kind of get that breathing time before the whole thing starts over the next quarter. So Maureen, great question.
Yeah, and Sarah asked, do I have to re-enroll? If you've canceled your membership, yes, you'll have to re-enroll. And it's just the $39 a month. If you're currently in, Sarah, there's no action needed on your part. You just continue your $39 a month investment and you're good to go. Somebody said, can you list the 3 secrets again? And it was, you're just one conversation away from an amazing database. One right conversation, right? The next one was, the conversation is the relationship. So you're one conversation away. The conversation is the relationship, number 2. And number 3 is become the trusted advisor. And business to business is one of those ways, right? And we go through all kinds of ways through your 36 touch to 40 touch to really go take that position where it's not about having to be their best friend. You really get to be their go-to trusted advisor in real estate, and maybe more than real estate if you choose to go take that position.
So true. Walt asks, what is the personal note? And so, Walt, I'm going to make a crazy assumption that you are talking about at the end of the 3 attempt approach, that at the end of the week, we send a personal note as well as that voicemail. And that's for those folks that we weren't able to connect with. So remember, the other ones that we connected with, we had that conversation, and that is the relationship. And yet we're still looking to deepen the relationships with those that we haven't spoken to. And so that personal note can just be, hey, reached out a couple of times this week. I was just thinking about you and just wanted to tell you to, have a great holiday season. I mean, that's what I would write right now, because I wouldn't be reaching out again until the next quarter. It's basically a thinking of you note, and hey, I'm sorry we weren't able to connect. Simple. It doesn't have to be a paragraph at all.
In fact, I've got a document on that. I'd love to, I'm going to put that into our content for next round. So it's sample personal notes, because I struggle sometimes. I can go to a memory jogger or something to help me with that. If you miss a session, and by the way, somebody asked, how can they connect with us? You've got the Never Ending Referrals VIP Facebook page. And when we're doing the live sessions, we hang around for Q&A, and just as we're doing right now. So yes, we'll bring some of you onto the sessions, because we do the sessions on Zoom webinar, not on GoToWebinar where you're at today. This is the one for MAPS. Those sessions are on Zoom, and so we can bring in panelists, and you can raise your hand. So we'll bring some of you in live occasionally if you've got your camera active and would like to participate. So yeah, we're here to answer questions and help you individually get results. So yes, we are accessible.
Awesome. Jesse, you said, will you present on the screen the second script that Tammi said? So if you could just throw into that questions box what we were talking about, then I'll gladly share that. Absolutely.
Somebody asked about recordings of sessions. Mario said, if I miss a session, can we get the recordings? All the recordings go to the portal for you to view within 24 hours. So, the next business day, and then typically that'll be the next day. So all sessions are recorded and you have access to them. Absolutely.
Oh, you guys are loving that 5-star script, and Steve and I do too. I'll tell you, it's, we've just heard countless, testimonials, if you will, from, past, students as well as current students, where their businesses have just blown up through those business to business relationships. And they just found that they loved having those conversations. So, I'm glad you guys love that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, billing asks whether it's on the 16th of every month if they sign up to now. Your initial billing will be now, and then it'll recur on the 1st of the month, or the 1st or 5th is the way MAPS has got those set up. And so again, you've got a 30-day guarantee. If you got billed, 239s by the time and you decide to make a change, we'd refund you your full money. Yeah. Okay.
And thank you all who were giving me empathy for my coughing fit. Boy, talk about live TV, right? We are a reality TV today.
Yeah. She said, how do one-on-one coaching occur in this system? Of course, we have MAPS coaches that specialize in the database that are very familiar with this system. And so if you wanted one-on-one coaching on this system, there are coaches available in our network to help you with that.
Kelly, I love that. She says, I found that the Nextdoor app is also great for accumulating those business-to-business associates. I've used it to create preferred vendor lists that I now send out to clients moving into the area. Kelly, that's a great idea. You know, it's a great idea. You know, I think what we're talking about too is, you know, gosh, when we put that whole thing together, you know, that curated vendor list, not only is this, you know, a touch that, by the way, you could probably use this as a touch twice a year, right? And come up with value conversations for the other two. But, you know, you could put this together on, you know, a Google Doc where you had a link to it. And just imagine you take a new listing and you send a follow-up or the recipe of, you know, here's what's going to happen next and everything's outlined. And then you say, you know what, star this email because here's a link to our curated vendor list or, you know, our 5-star professional list. Chances are they're going to hang on to that email forever, right? So it's just a great thing.
Well, you know, BJ, you know, shares this. She said, I've been, BJ, I don't know if you're male or female. So I'm sorry, says, I've been thinking about this too long. I too have come to a standstill, need to take a leap of faith and do this today. Welcome aboard. Leap, leap, leap. BJ Corey. Thank you, BJ. Appreciate having you.
I love
How many
it.
hours should we
Oh,
spend calling per day? Depends on how big your group is, right? You know, we say lead generation is 3 hours. It's a half hour of preparation. It's 2 hours of activity, and it's a half hour of maintenance and wrap up. And yet, if you've got a really large database, you know, until you kind of identify what that 20% is, you could spend significant time. So, but I would say no less than 2 hours to 3 hours a day, because if you don't have a large database and you're committed to building a business, you're going to take some of our business to business strategies or other lead generation strategies to go really build it. We talk about this in Never Ending Referrals. Everybody should master their connected contact database, their MET database, and at least 1 to 2 other strategies that are listing specific that you can do in high volume. That's why we talk about geofarming as one of the other databases, because, you know, this is what's going to help you continue to grow and build a base of past clients. It's going to get you to your goals faster.
Absolutely. Roxanne says, her question, you know, we make the first call and then we attempt 3 more times. How much time in between each attempt? And Roxanne, no, it's 3 times total in the week. So, you know, your first attempt will be on Monday and your next attempt could be Tuesday or Wednesday. I mean, this is going to be around your schedule during the week, so long as those 3 days occur. So there could be 1 day in between. It could be 2 days in between. You could do Monday, Thursday, Friday. You know, it's completely up to you. It's just that you want to make sure that you start at the beginning of the week and at the end of the week, you've attempted to call those folks 3 times. And there you go.
All right.
Samson, do we have to be a KW agent or can someone from another agency watch these e-learning videos and materials? And Samson, that's a great question. And the answer is no, you do not have to be a Keller Williams agent to access Never Ending Referrals. This is open to agents no matter, you know, where you are affiliated. I mean, Steve and I, this is just about pouring value into our industry. So that's a great question.
All right. Hang in there, Tammy. Hang in there.
I know. I bless you all.
You know, it's just, you know, a lot of focus here on relationship. Some of these folks were having trouble finding the chat box. Again, the only thing in the chat box is the link. It's neverendingreferrals.com. Go to the Join Me, and there is a handouts tab where we do have the download available for you there. So again, to enroll, just neverendingreferrals.com. Go to our website, go to the Join Me, and you can sign up right now. And then tomorrow we'll send you the resources. Next door app's great for,
go ahead.
You know, Kathy or Kelly, nice comment. Nextdoor app's great for accumulating business-to-business associations. I've used to create a preferred vendor list. Nextdoor is powerful, absolutely.
It is. Michelle, that's a great question too. Are there scheduled classes or do we do this on our own? So if you look at your screen now, yes, you have instant access to that e-learning portal. There are over 150, you know, videos on that portal, and you can use that at your own pace, right? You just go through that at your own pace. In addition to all of that, then you have those 8 sessions with Steve and I live with Q&A, and we do those the first 3 Mondays of every month. And then in addition to that, we also do 3 webinars the first 3 Thursdays of the month. And that's where we either dive deeper into a principle or we bring in those live interviews. So it's the online portal and then all of the other things that you see on the screen in addition. So it's 6 webinars a month with us. And all of the webinars, by the way, guys, they're all recorded. So, when you get access to that portal, you're going to see, all of the recordings of our past webinars. So, if you can't join on a Monday or a Thursday, you can always go back and watch it later. So.
Yeah, somebody's asking where the handout tab is. You should have on your GoToWebinar control panel a thing that says handouts, and you have to click the arrow to open it possibly if it's not open, and you will find a PDF download right there. So there you go.
Yeah, and again, those of you who are already enrolled in Never Ending Referrals, you do not have to do anything. You are already part of the community, and we will just say great having you here today, and I'm sure that along with Steve, we know that you got value out of being able to dive into those tactics. So
and again,
good. Oh my gosh, so many of you signing up. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're so excited that you guys are going to be part of this journey with us. So welcome aboard. Somebody asked about, is it just all on our own or do we have classes? Again, those are the live sessions you spoke about earlier. So yes, you will get, upon registering, you'll get the webinar schedules, and you will receive notices from MAPS Coaching 24 hours and 1 hour before each webinar with your webinar links. You'll be automatically set up upon registration. And so just be on the lookout for that. Put it in a folder with all your Never Ending Referrals resources. And we also communicate with you via email prior to sessions, let you know what's going to be happening that week, a link to download the workbook. The workbooks are also on the e-learning portal. And we'll do on the January 4th session, we'll go through tutorials on the portal and all those resources for you, to make sure that you're getting familiar and clear on how to use everything.
Lisa asks, would you include potential clients in those quarterly calls? And Lisa, that's a great question. And that really goes to the size of your Met database or those advocates, those raving fans and cheerleaders, because, as Steve was saying just a little while ago, you want to make sure that once you identify who those cheerleaders are, those relationships that you're going to cultivate and work on and sprinkle and fertilize first. And, as your database gets bigger, remember that 20% are going to be the ones that you're really focused on. So, as you're growing your database, if you have the time, absolutely. Absolutely.
Samson used to be a KW agent, and, can I access this? I think you probably already talked to Samson. Yes.
Yes.
Just register at neverendingreferrals.com. Wow. Yes, Jeffrey, on-demand access is available to you immediately in the portal. So as soon as you get signed up, you'll have that access.
And Robin says, do the recordings stay in the portal or do the recordings come down? And no, we don't take anything down.
Yeah.
What we do is, once the recordings get long enough, we kind of archive them. And inside the portal, there is a section where you'll see all of the archived webinars. And that's just because we keep the most current webinars at the top of your portal and we archive the rest. So everything is there.
Everything is there. Yes. Ready to go.
Vicky,
signed
we
up.
have agents from Canada in the program, and the answer is yes. We love our Canadian friends. So yeah, we do.
Oh, Canada. Okay. Don't make me sing. Okay. Yeah. Guys, I think we've got to the majority of your questions. And again, feel free to reach out to us if you have questions. DTD2 at Gmail, or DTD2 team. Is that right, Tammi? DTD2 team at gmail.com is one of our probably best email addresses if you have further questions. Again, go to neverendingreferrals.com to enroll. It's been a delight having you guys here today. I trust you got something you can use to put to work in your business, in the weeks ahead. And, let us be your partner. Don't go this alone. There's too big an opportunity and you don't want to miss it. And this is the year of the database, folks. And we'd love to be your partner on the journey. So, Tammi, any last thoughts before you say goodbye?
No, just happy holidays. Welcome to our community. We're glad that you're here. We're very grateful that you all stayed with us today through this, and you're still on with the Q&A. Again, certainly reach out via email and go out and look for that Never Ending Referrals VIP room Facebook page, and just request to join, and we'll get those approved. And there's some interactions and things that we do there as well. And so we look forward to partnering with you guys, and thanks for being here. Happy holidays.
So long, guys. Hey, it's not Zoom, and I got to figure out how to turn it off. Hey, you guys are going to get a bonus minute because I'm figuring it out. So.